This is an overview of the new John Deere Gator. To get access to the hood and check the fluids underneath it, the first thing you need to do is remove the brush guard. You got some quick connect pins on the side. Pull them out, have them lock them on the outer part of it, which in turn you're able to lower it down. Each side of the hood has a rubber strap for quick release. Once you disconnect both sides, you can open it up. If you look, this is just like a car. You have a radiator on it. On the passenger side of the radiator is a overflow container for the antifreeze itself. You should have a 50-50 mix in there, and you got markers on the side as far as telling you what the full level is. Directly across on the driver's side, it does have power brakes on it. You can see the brake reservoir as well for the brake fluids. Okay, moving forwards, we do have a winch on here. This is actually a nylon strand, so we don't have to worry about the cable on it. Easy access. There's 50 feet of strap on here. To release it, you have a control on the side, identified by the red turn handle. If you turn this in a clockwise position to the 12 o'clock position, you have a free flow for the cable itself. Once you have it pulled out to the designated area, go ahead and lock it in place. Come over to the glove box. Inside the glove box, you have your control to operate the winch. What's very important is when you store the cable, once again, when your job is completed, make sure you have tension on it as you're rewinding the winch itself. Key's got to be on. And that takes care of the winch. Moving to the cab area, we do have some storage underneath the passenger seat. Here you'll find adapters for filling the tank, 1.5 to 1.5, along with 1.5 to 2.5 female connectors. We also have a spare nozzle in here. And straps, which will secure the Stokes basket to the top of the tank area. Moving on to the driver's side. Some pretty basic controls inside here. You do have a gear shift lever. Again, just like your car that you drive. Park is all the way down. Going in the up position, if you put your foot on the brake, going up, reverse, neutral, high, which is the position you're going to have majority of the time as you're driving down the road or on the trails. You also have a low position on the side here. All the way up is low position, but again, this is only used to get you out of harm's way. If you look at the controls here, all the way down to park, once again, in order to start it, you do have switches on the side. We'll start from the right over here. You have LED lights both on the front and also on the rear, and they are identified. Cab front will turn the LED lights on the front. You have hazards, which are four-way flashes, just like your automobile. You have your LED lights on the back. They're mainly work lights to take care of the skid unit itself. And on the side here, it's got a beacon symbol on it. That will turn on the emergency lights on the top. Next to the gear shift lever, you do have four-wheel drive capability on this. If you're driving down the road in dry conditions, by all means, keep it in two-wheel drive. Once you go off-road, you want to shift it to the four-wheel drive position. It's done just with the electric switch. It's ideal to do when you're in a park position. Turn it to four-wheel drive. You'll see your dash light up, and it'll show you that you're actually in four-wheel drive. You do have the capability of putting in the four-wheel drive as you're moving, but you want to make sure that you're kept at low speeds. Directly below that, you have a differential lock. This right now, you're only getting power out of one side of the rear tires when you're moving forwards. Again, something that we do not use that often, and I'll say this again, we are not going to use it that often. It's the same thing that's on the ladder truck. You do have a differential lock. If you are stuck and four-wheel drive does not get you out of that position, you have the capability of turning it into a posi transmission simply by engaging the differential lock, which will engage both rear tires now for movement. You only want to use it at slow speeds, and you only want to use it when you're going straight. Once you get out of harm's way, disconnect the differential lock, and again, you return either to two-wheel drive or four-wheel drive. Next to the differential lock, you have your wiper blades. It is an electric switch. Moving it forwards will activate the wipers. On the far left, you have your headlight switch, and next to that, you have turn signals, left and right turn signals. For starting purpose, there is no choke on this thing. It's just like your car. You want to make sure that it's in park. Go ahead and turn the key, and the vehicle will start. Moving on this side is where you fill the Gator up for gas. It's an 11-gallon gas can, and we'll have our spare gas container located at Station 2. On the other side, we do have an air filter. Something that you want to check when you get back after you're off-road in a lot of debris and it's a dusty condition. You want to check the air filter. By doing so, pull the yellow tab out. It's a twist lock, and it releases the cover for the air filter. All it is a paper filter. You can go ahead and take it off, blow it off with compressed air from the inside out to get rid of any kind of debris that might be stored. You want to also wipe out the container for any debris that might be stuck inside there. Reassemble. Quarter turn, push the lock in place. Now you are secure. We also have a battery compartment on this side, limited access, but a push tab directly underneath the air filter. By pushing it, will get you access to the positive terminal, and then you grab a ground on the frame rail. Battery's located on the inside of it. To replace the battery, you have to remove some of these plastic housings that surround it. But as far as a jump start goes, your battery terminal, positive terminal, will be in this location here. To reassemble, follow the tabs on the bottom, and you're secure again. Moving to the back, it's a 70-gallon water tank. You do have a top fill on it, which was what we'll be using mostly to fill the tank. 70-gallon water tank. We do have a 3/4 inch hose, 100 feet long, with a combination nozzle on it. The back end does have its own power going to it. This feed here is the direct hookup to the battery for your electric rewind on the cord reel, along with electric start on the motor. Moving to the pump area itself, it is a standalone pump assembly. You do have electric start on it once again. Two fluids on here is your gas tank, obviously, and then on either side, identified by either a black cap on the left or a gray cap on your right, that is where you check your oil. As far as the pump operation goes, just like any other pump that we have on our apparatus, the uppers are all discharges, the lower part is your intake. I don't see us using it that often, but you do have the capability of filling a water tank from the back side here of your intake. That's what the adapters are for. If you need to fill up with 1.5 inches, go ahead and put your adapter on, along with your 1.5 inch hose, and you can fill your tank up. We also have an adapter, and we are going to carry 2.5 inch hose in the storage bin. You have a 2.5 inch to 1.5 inch adapter, which will also go on the intake for filling purposes. Inside the storage bin also, we do carry a small length, 50-foot length of forestry line, along with an extra nozzle. Looking at the control handles on the pump itself, if you are filling from a lower intake, you do have a shutoff valve directly in front of it. Other control valves located on the skid unit itself. The lower one goes directly from the tank to the pump, and we will refer to it as such, tank to pump valve. We're going to leave that open at all times. It will constantly get water to your pump area, so tank to pump valve will remain open at all times. Up on the top here are all your discharges. This is your recirculating valve. Again, majority of the time we want to leave that cracked open, but you will see a change in pressure. If you're flowing out of the hose reel on a constant flow, you can go ahead and shut this off and you will see the pressure increase. Opening it up, decrease in pressure, it will change the flow parameter a little bit. But if you're not flowing water, it's very important that not only if your tank to pump open, you want to keep your recirculating valve open to keep water flowing through the pump and the tank itself. You have two discharges on the left side here. Driver's side, top one is for an 1.5 inch hose, the bottom is forestry line. And of course, the one that we are going to be using the most is for your hose reel itself. To start the engine, pretty basic operation. It is electric start, but you have your two controls on the top. The top is for your choke. All the way following the arrow is full choke. The bottom is your gas. Closest following the arrow again is turns your gas on. Throttle for the RPM of the engine, pulling it towards you will increase the RPMs. To start this, you want to have it in a higher RPM position, full choke unless it was already been running, and your gas is on. Come over to the key start. Once it starts up, take it off the choke. We now have the tank pump open. We're going to activate the booster line. If the electric start does not operate on it, for whatever reason, you do have the capability of a manual start. Follow the same procedures. The engine was already running, so therefore we will not need the choke. So we're going to leave the choke off. Gas is on the on position. You still need to turn the key to the middle, which is the on position. Turn the throttle to a higher RPM. Manual start. Shut the engine off. All right, couple options as far as filling. You do have the top feed. Majority of the time, out on the scene, this is probably what you're going to use. It's going to be much quicker to use this option. Top fill. The second option, again, is coming back to the intake on the side here. Get your appropriate adapter. Once you get your adapter on and your hose hooked to it, your tank to pump is already in the open position. Go ahead and open the valve once you have water coming to it, and it'll fill the tank up.
You're ready, go.
All right, in order to check the engine oil on the Gator itself, we are able to do it by lifting the bed area. To help us out, you need to drain the water, 70 gallons out of the tank, drain the water to assist you in doing so. If you look at the skid unit itself, it's secured at 4 locations, so at any time this can be removed. On both sides, you have threaded rod on the front of the box and also on the rear. Secures the hooks inside the bed area itself. Again, once we remove the water, you are able to tilt the bed to check the engine oil, but highly recommended to take the water out first. There also is a water level gauge on it. As you can see, it's going down now as we're draining the tank. It is by sight only, and you'll see the water inside the tube as we're draining out the water decrease. To lower the bed, once again, disconnect your primary 12-volt plug that gives all the power to the back. Driver's side, you have a D handle underneath. As you're pushing forwards, you grab a hold of this D handle to release it. Inside, you can see the engine compartment itself. You have your oil fill, and then Danny, if you could point to the dipstick on that side. Dipstick is on his passenger side to check the engine oil. One of the habits to get into is if you are to take this off road and you go through a lot of debris, when you get back, you want to make sure that you open up the engine compartment and clean this area out. As you can see, the exhaust pipe and the muffler is in the back side there. There are shields on there that protects the muffler, but it also is an area to collect the debris. So you want to make sure you clean that all out so it doesn't catch on fire. As far as closing goes, there is no release underneath. Just go ahead and push forwards. You want to make sure that it is locked in place. Final step, go ahead and plug the 12 volts back in again. So now you do have power to the back.